My kids had these the other day and absolutely loved them. These are those freeze-dried yogurt and fruit snacks. You can see these right here, and when we went to the store, we decided to pick one of these up and do a direct comparison to actually making one ourselves. So because the main ingredients in here are actually strawberries, some yogurt or milk product, and then a little bit of sweetener, everything else in here was actually things like preservatives, beet powder for color, things like that. So once we make this ourselves, I want to compare not only the taste and the texture, but I also want to compare the price as well. Because we are wanting to keep this more dairy-free, we went ahead and got this unsweetened organic coconut yogurt. We have these organic strawberries, and then we do have a little bit of organic maple syrup just to sweeten it up a little bit more to be more similar to this one. So the way that I'm going to make this is I'm essentially just going to mix this coconut yogurt, these strawberries, and maple syrup in this little blender here and blend it all up, and then I'm just gonna put it in little dabs on the freeze drying trays and stick them in the freeze dryer. We're just gonna make a little strawberry yogurt smoothie. I have all of my ingredients right here. Now that I have all of my ingredients in here, let's go ahead and try this out. Now that I have some of my smoothie right here, I have a couple of these trays and a little Ziploc bag. I'm just gonna pour the smoothie in here just to get that little dotted effect. I am actually gonna open one of these up just so I can get them into the similar size. So just for size reference, this is what they look like. And I'm gonna try to make them as similar to that size as I can. Just took these out of the freeze dryer, and you can see they're probably a little flatter than your regular ones, like the commercial ones that you buy in the store. You can kind of see what they look like here. I do feel like it's really gonna benefit that the next batch actually went in the freezer before going in the freeze dryer. Maybe I will hold its shape a little bit more. So anyways, this is all a learning experience. Let's go ahead and take them off the tray and see if they come off clean. I will say I feel like they're not as fluffy, meaning maybe I put a little bit too much liquid in there. So I am gonna try to do this a little bit better next time. And you can see texture-wise, they are dry, but I almost feel like they need to be drier, or maybe it's just because they're a little bit flatter. So you can see a comparison of the two right here. This is the one that was store-bought, and this is the one that we made. Clearly this one is a little bit puffier. And I would say it's a little bit more chalky in texture, which is kind of the goal. I do feel like the taste in this one is really good. We're gonna try a few more batches and update you at the end. I just wanted to make a quick little note. I am packaging up our third batch here, and I haven't used a scraper or anything like that, and you can see just kind of moving around the pan, these already come loose, which just shows me that there's no moisture in these ones. So this is so far the best batch yet. All right, we finally finished with our dairy-free little yogurt strawberry bites here, and this was a really fun experiment. So just for some reference, we are gonna crunch some numbers in a little bit just to find out exact pricing of making them from home with your own freeze dryer. But I do wanna mention that there is approximately 1 cup of these yogurt bites in this bag right here. And each of these are 2-cup containers, and all of them were completely filled to the top by the time we were finished freeze drying them. Obviously, we have eaten some of each one since then, but just for reference. So with the ingredients that you saw us buy, we made 8 times the amount that comes into this bag. So our first batch that we made was these 2 jars right here. The first one that we ran through, it definitely wasn't dry enough, but we weren't aware of that until later. And you can see when you break them in half, there's really not that same crunch that you get from the ones you buy at the store. So we didn't realize they weren't completely dried through, so we did have to store this in the refrigerator. And so the second batch we did run for double the amount of time, but you can see in the bottom, it's still that dark pink, which we could tell when you bite into them that it still is a little bit soft in the center. So right here, the second 2 jars, this is our second batch, and we changed a couple of things. One of the main things was we didn't add any water to this batch. We just had the yogurt, strawberries, and maple syrup. And that was definitely a win. I would definitely do that next time. You can see this first batch here. We just did way more time than we probably needed, but we did about 30 hours. And this was just the most perfect batch. You can see that nice crispness. It's dried all the way through. You can see underneath. There is absolutely no moisture when you bite into these. So this was the absolute perfect batch. And so when we put the second batch of this one in, we thought maybe it just didn't need quite that much time. So we did put it in for about 18 hours, and you can just tell on the bottom, it just isn't dried all the way through. And you can tell when you bite into it as well, that there's just a little bit of moisture still in there. I did want to compare that to the ones that we did buy from the store. You can see how dry these ones are. They're definitely dry all the way through there. Taste-wise, this one we found out does have some strawberry flavor in it, so it does have a little bit of that strawberry flavoring taste, but definitely we had the kids try all of these, and everybody in the family picked this batch right here. It was the perfect dryness. We can keep them in the pantry, and it's just the perfect treat. So for the kids to pick this one that is homemade with the ingredients that we bought from the store over the ones that we did buy from the store, I feel like that's a huge win, and we're definitely gonna be making this again. Here we went ahead and crunched some numbers so you can see the actual pricing of how much our yogurt bites are if we were to put them in the same quantity as this bag that we purchased from the store. So while all of these are tasty, that number 3 batch right here was our absolute favorite. I love that it's shelf stable, and we're definitely gonna be making it again.